What's going on, everybody? You're listening to Tiger Club Radio, episode 179. This is your host, Critical Failure. Thank you so much for joining us this week. This week on the program, we've got the IDDQD full album, something really good I've been listening to in the subject of free music that you can go download now at no cost. There was a new Mame release for you emulation guys. That's it for news. I just did the entire news. That wasn't a teaser. That was it, top to bottom, which is generally how it goes. Got a couple more fun things for you. Let's kick things off with, what was I listening to before the show started? There was a track, not on chipmusic.org, but on ucollective.org. Let's see, which was if you read the description, it was an April Fool's joke, which turned into a real track. Here we go. It's from Diagamblic. Salutations. Have some new music. My latest single, Hey Justin, started out as an April Fool's joke tune for a friend's podcast, Two Dudes and an NES, but it sort of took on a life of its own. Fans of chiptune and funky hip-hop enjoy. Pretty good track, guys. All right, I'm going to roll this one for you. Hang with me. Hope you're having a good day. We'll talk some video games. You're listening to Tiger Claw Radio, episode 179. got a good vibe to it. It really does. I think it's a bit lengthy for what it is, but it's very danceable. I really dig that track, actually. That is from Diagamblic, and it's not from the typical chipmusic.org. I branched out to U Collective, and U Collective, in comparison, does not see a ton of traffic. So I think if you dig that track, it would be awesome if we could, branch out and, grab the MP3, leave a comment on the site where the song was updated so that the artist knows we're listening here on Tiger Claw Radio. All right, guys, let's talk some video games. Before we dig into the notes, because I honestly don't have a whole lot, something cool happened last week. My son likes a little video game time on the weekend, and he's young. He's 7 years old. So the amount of games that he likes is very slim, but the ones he does like, he sticks with for a long period of time. It's a quality I don't have. And the games he likes are I think good for his age bracket. He really digs Minecraft, and he likes Trackmania for racing and stuff like that. A lot of that stuff we've talked about before. So he wanted to have some Minecraft time. And he was typically, when he does Minecraft or Terraria or something, he wants to LAN party, but specifically he was like, Dad, I just want to play just me. You can come hang out with me, but I just want to be in my own multiplayer, or my own map. I don't want to do a LAN party today. All right, no problem, kiddo. So he's playing, and I'm chilling out, hanging out with him in my office at home. And so, to fill the time while he was playing, I turned on my Dreamcast. Now, my Dreamcast hasn't been on in a while. It's been on the shelf next to my desk for a good while. The only real console that gets played as of recent days is my NES, because that's what's hooked up right now. I just don't have the space to have all my consoles hooked up. So I hooked up the Dreamcast, and I was like, whatever's in here, I'm going to fire it up. And what did it have in there? Dead or Alive 2. Dead or Alive 2. You guys know I like the Dead or Alive series, and man, I got to tell you, it felt good to play. It felt good to play. Well, it felt good to play my Dreamcast again. We'll say that. And it also felt good to play one of the earlier Dead or Alive games, because that is a series that has been awesome for a long time. I was going to say awesome from the beginning, but I don't think I've ever actually played the first one. Still super graphically impressive, at least in my opinion. DOA 2 is a great game. One thing I'd like to get my hands on one of these days is a copy of DOA 2 Hardcore for the PS2. I believe that was a launch title. I don't know if it was a launch title or not, but if it wasn't, it certainly came out in that first year. And I know that for the PS2, that was one of those where when you flipped it over, the back was purple, right? I liked that game. Back in the day, I didn't care much for the Dead or Alive series because you couldn't run. I don't know why that turned me off, but I liked running up and then running and jumping out, and a lot of really fast movement, and you couldn't do any of that. Dead or Alive at that point seemed a lot more like the Tekken series, which I guess it still does. It seems more like Tekken than Street Fighter. Or Battle Arena Toshinden, if I could date myself a little bit. So that was cool. That basically just was a crash course in remembering that the Dreamcast is an awesome system, and I have to go get out all my Dreamcast games again. That's one system that I don't have an arcade stick for, and I kind of gave up on playing fighting games with an arcade stick since I got my fight pad. But there's no fight pad available for the Dreamcast either. I mean, you either buy the arcade stick or you're stuck with the Dreamcast controller, which I know the Dreamcast controller broke new ground, but it still feels just a little bit awkward to me. But alright, well, that was it. I mean, to make a mountain out of a molehill, I played Dreamcast over the last week for the first time in a long time. Okay, let's take a look at this Mame article, because Mame is something that whenever I dig into Mame, I always seem to run into compatibility issues. I think it's just a part of the game, part of being a Mame user, being an emulate emulation person. Being an emulate person. So there was a new version released, and I just thought I'd cover it. So the word was out. We're looking at MAME 0.184. And it lists improvements to the AGAT 7 and Apple II and Famicom clones, enhancements to the BBC and PC software lists, as well as a much faster Ramadan verb with support for identifying ROMs for emulated slot devices. There aren't a huge number of new working machines in this release, but there are some significant improvements. Thanks to Casblock, MAME now emulates some of the peculiarities of Famicom clone hardware. Thanks to shattered emulation of the AGAT 7, Apple II clone is improved. Pierre Ferrari provided a superior Apple II language card implementation. This looks like pretty obscure improvements. However, there is a new version. And the more I read of this article, the more I see like it's really about, let's see, those who are interested in TI-83 graphing calculators can now, yeah. So I don't know, maybe not super important. Okay, there are a bunch of new, here we go. Here's the meat of the article. A bunch of cool arcade games are now supported on MAME, including a rare US prototype of Shanghai 3, the Japanese release of Radisle, the world release of Super Crowns Golf, German version of Raiden 2, bootlegs of both Phoenix and Bomberman, as well as a special Flash Girl version with the Kyogo logo. Couple of oddities, whatever. There's a new MAME out. If whenever I play MAME, it's usually the same handful of games. I got, I always have a copy of Street Fighter Alpha 3. I've always got a copy of Darkstalkers. I've always got a Pachinko game of some type. That's it. That's usually the trilogy or the trinity of MAME for me. So what I would end up doing is downloading this new copy of MAME and then just going about my business, seeing and feeling no real change. Let's talk about Splatterhouse. There is for me, when I think about video games from like the 16-bit era back, there's really two distinct eras. There's the age where it was new, and then there's the age of the internet. Okay? So games I found out about after the age of the internet that I didn't know about when they were new, I kind of look at differently. And I feel like that's important because I want to be honest with myself. For example, the Star Tropics games, Star Tropics and Star Tropics 2, I found out about when they were new. We had Star Tropics as a kid. We got it out of the box. We had the little paper dip thing. Same with Star Tropics 2. We got those new on NES. That's from the first era. And now we move on to the age of the internet, where I found out about, the Splatterhouse series. Didn't know about those games back in the day. So I was playing Splatterhouse 2. Well, let me back up a step. I watched a Splatterhouse related video, like a retrospective of the Splatterhouse series. And I can't remember who did it. It was somebody I had never watched before. And those games are just so awesome to look at. I was like, alright, let's give Splatterhouse 2 a try again. I can't get anywhere in that game. I hit the first boss, and it's like, I don't know. I'm not saying I never got it. I never got a hold of how to play the game effectively, and I think that put a stop on me being a fan, like a long-time fan of the series, like some people are. However, I did notice that site that we talked about a couple weeks ago, AliExpress. AliExpress sells a reproduction cart of Splatterhouse 2 for Sega Genesis for $5. I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna get it as my test case for AliExpress, because the Genesis reproduction carts are a little bit on the inexpensive side, even when compared to the NES games and stuff. Because I'm hoping that if I play it on real hardware with a real controller, maybe I'll feel something. Maybe I can get into it in a way that I couldn't otherwise. But man, those games look really cool. It's weird that Splatterhouse. It's like I've almost enjoyed watching videos of that series more than I actually have playing the game. But also, to be fair, I've only ever played Splatterhouse 2. I've tried it a couple times over the years, and for whatever reason, I never branched out to Splatterhouse 3, and I never got like the first one. I never got on MAME or TurboGrafx 16 emulator or anything like that. I've only played the second one. So among the people who listen to this show, I'm interested to hear what your interactions are and experiences are like with the Splatterhouse series, because that's definitely a beloved series that somehow passed me over. So Splatterhouse is the order of the day. Let me know how it went down for you. All right, let's talk about IDKFA. Okay, so free music is something I'm certainly interested in. When I do chiptunes, I've been paying closer attention to the licensing lately. It used to be in the 8BC days that everything that was uploaded, a prerequisite to upload was that you had to be able to mark it as Creative Commons, so that anything on the website I knew I could use by default. I've been paying closer attention because since the 8BC went Hunter, that's not the case anymore. Now you can upload a chiptune to uCollective or chipmusic.org that has all rights reserved. Now, you would still be able to go and download the track for free. It's still free music in terms of consumption, but in a setting like this where I'm going to play music, I like to stick with Creative Commons or better in terms of licensing. So then we come to IDKFA, which is a full album of heavy metal tracks. The Doom soundtrack, the original Doom 1 soundtrack that is remade into solid, real heavy metal music. And when I listen to this thing, I can hear tracks that have been used in people's videos before. However, when I go to the download page where you download the album, it's all rights reserved, in all caps, personal use only, no commercial product usage, whatever. So I'm not going to play it here out of respect for the license agreement from the author, Andrew Holschult, however you say that. But amazing album that I have been very much enjoying. Being from a punk background, I tend to think that 30 minutes is roundabout what an album should be in terms of length. That's one of the reasons why I never got too much into Rancid, because I thought their albums were just too damn long. But IDKFA weighs in at an hour and 9 minutes, and it doesn't feel it at all. It's really, really good. So I will put the link. How am I going to do this? I'll put the link to the YouTube video. He's got one of those videos up that runs the full album, and then in that video there's a link to where you can grab the MP3s. Which, ironically, he's got the album uploaded to ModDB like it's a Doom mod, which I think is kind of funny. But good stuff. Something you can go check out if you're looking for something for free. And that about does it for that. I think I'm going to go ahead and shoot it over to the Vancast now. Let's see, it is Wednesday morning? Thursday morning. Jeez Louise, I'm running out of time to finish this episode. It's Thursday morning. I don't have a Vancast this week. But I will get one. I'm going to record one later on this morning and I'll put it in. I'll get it together, I promise. So that's cool. Last night I actually got my computer up and running, the secondary computer I'd been building. I picked out the GNOME, Debian GNOME desktop. I wanted something that was slightly consoleized, since I'm going to be operating it with a remote control mostly. So I wanted to get Debian, the Debian GNOME desktop, and I downloaded the ISO, but I just couldn't make it work. I don't know what the deal was. It would not boot up. I couldn't get a working live boot, which sucked. So in the end, I ended up going with Linux Mint Cinnamon 18.1, which I didn't want to do. I didn't want to do it because it's the one I already have, and I really wanted to branch out and try some other kind of distribution. I mean, there's not millions. There's over 1,000, different versions of Linux. I wanted to pick something else, but I didn't have a whole lot of luck. So right now, I'm running Mint 18.1 for a couple of reasons. Because it worked, and also I never upgraded to 18.1 on the Panzer on my machine that I normally use, so I wanted to try and see if there was anything there worth upgrading for. I don't know. I'll get Debian working at some point anyway. But that computer's up and running. I got it working. I played Cave Story a little bit. When I say I played Cave Story, I tested Cave Story just to get a game running on that computer. And it was cool. I got it working, man. So that's great. All right, let's go to the Vancast. All right, I don't have a Vancast this week. All right, I recorded a 4.5-minute segment coming back from work on Thursday afternoon. And basically the entire 4.5 minutes was getting super nerdy with Linux, more nerdy than usual. And I'm going to sum it up in just a few sentences. Essentially, Ubuntu released. Ubuntu said that they're changing pretty much everything. Ubuntu's ditching the Unity desktop in favor of GNOME 3. And without getting too much into detail, because this is like nitty-gritty Linux, not so much gaming related. But essentially, Ubuntu has had this desktop, this Unity desktop, which is more or less what you think of when you think of Ubuntu. And they're sacking it top to bottom, which is it's been a story that's been covered on all the Linux outlets, and it's interesting to me because I was trying to get GNOME 3 installed on my new computer and it failed. So now that Ubuntu is going to be changing pretty drastically, I'm interested to see how that turns out. I went with Linux Mint Cinnamon on the new computer, and I was like, only because it was like the third time I tried to install something and it didn't work. I was like, oh, I know this will work. Fine, forget it. I just want to get it on and get it working. So I don't have any. I have zero information on that computer at this point that I require to save. So I'm ready to overwrite it in a moment's notice. So I'll let you know how that goes. So that was it. That's pretty much. I went on and on about about that during the Vancast, and essentially what it boils down to is there's a guy who makes videos on YouTube named Joe Collins. Joe Collins did an 18-minute breakdown that was very comprehensive and easy to listen to, and I will put a link to that video in the description if you're interested, and if you're not, I will drop it henceforth. As far as gaming is concerned, let's see. I got to play some games today. Oh man, it's been so busy with the kids. But okay, VidMe, right? We are 24 minutes into the podcast, and it's probably going to be a short show this week, so that I can utilize a little extra time to get a VidMe channel up and running. With all the troubles from YouTube, with sponsors going away and whatnot, VidMe is still like a virgin market, and it's a lot of small channels were able to put up videos and get on the front page. And based on some tweets from our good pal Retro Kaiser, it kind of sounds like some bigger channels are migrating over there. So if you want to get the virgin market hits and exposure, I think I really have to jump on it now. So I'm going to try and get a Tiger Claw TV VidMe channel up tonight, and we'll see how that goes. All right, let's see what else we got. This is like the lowest of the low when I look at my recently played games on Steam. Played some Terraria this afternoon with my boy. That's another thing he really likes to do, is to play land Terraria, which we got to do again. I got to play the EA release of Monopoly, which was out on Steam. I have 3 hours in my copy of Monopoly now. I played an entire game of Monopoly with my daughter, which was loads of fun. I did manage to go back a second time and play some more Cave Story. Cave Story is dope. What else I have in my recently played games? Yes. This was one I wanted to talk about. 8-Bit Bayonetta. 8-Bit Bayonetta was a little browser game that somehow got a release on Steam on April Fool's Day, and I played it for a while, and what I found was, let's see if I can make it to the store page. What I found was like a one-button game where all you can do is jump and shoot. You can't move left or right. You just jump and shoot as the things come at you. And I was looking at the discussion board, and what I found was that it was put like on the website for the development team. If you got a 404, it would take you to this game or something like that. Something was like highly available on their website. Well, that was added to Steam. Despite it being goofy and not holding a whole lot of replay value, I did enjoy it, and it was free. And my favorite is that if you look at the reviews, where is it now? I think it got buried, but there was one saying that this is actually the definitive version of Bayonetta, in that it's the only version of Bayonetta that can be played at 60 frames per second. PC gamers, we want Bayonetta on PC. Sega, we got you. This is interesting. This is from the top review on the 8-bit Bayonetta page. While this game masks itself as an April Fool's joke, all its achievements show an image torn from the teaser website that Sega has posted. It also has a cooldown too. I believe this game is a genuine teaser for a PC version of Bayonetta, masking itself as an April Fool's joke. Get hype. And there's a link here. See if I can snag that link. Okay, I'm gonna forget, so that's probably not gonna be in the show notes, but we'll see. I can't say I'm a huge fan of Bayonetta, but I didn't hate it either. I bought the first one on PS3 back when I was still digging into the PS3. It was one of the games I picked up, and I played it for a little while, but I don't know. It didn't quite rope me in. Like I liked what they were doing visually, but I didn't get hooked. I know some people did. I think Shintai platinumed that game, if I'm not mistaken. But that's pretty cool. Let's see what else we got. I've been getting this inkling feeling that the Steam summer sale is just around the corner, and I think it's just because it's not. It's the change of the seasons. Because I know it's not the case. The summer sale is good, several months away, but we'll see. It's Paradox Publisher Week also. This is pretty cool. Lots of Paradox games on sale. This is usually the time to pick up the big name, the big name strategy games that they put out. Most of their, their mainline grand strategy games that tend to be really DLC heavy. I mean, mostly I would say it's like legit expansion packs, mostly, but that makes it so that I end up waiting for times like this to pick up the mainline series. For example, Victoria 2 is $5. Crusader Kings 2 is $10 instead of $40. And I'm pretty sure they're still releasing expansion packs for Crusader Kings 2. Hearts of Iron 4 is out, but it's from $40. It's now $23. Not quite low enough for me. I didn't play Hearts of Iron enough to merit picking that up at such a price, even though that is a good price for a brand new game. This would be a good time for me to just check out some of the other stuff they have. Ancient Space, story-driven single-player real-time strategy game where you take command of a fleet embarking on a scientific mission. All right, looks pretty good. Has mixed reviews though. I'll come back and take a look at this later. Let's see, how else did I make out? Alright, that's it. I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel. We're going to do this, guys. We're going to hit the fail bag, and we're going to call that a show. I made it a half an hour in. Fail bag should give me a good bit to go over. And by that time, I think I'd rather just pull the plug and not do terrible, terrible content. And just get back to it when I can get back to it. So let's see. If you would like to participate in the fail bag, just leave a comment. Tiger Claw TV. I'm on YouTube. I also post on the next round when I can, which has been difficult over the last couple weeks, but we're doing what we can. So let's head over to my channel. Got some good comments on the last episode, I believe. All right, come on now. Okay, right. Last week was the no coffee week. Last week was the week I was very, very sick, but somehow I managed to get an episode out I was actually pretty proud of. Let's see. The Ken and Ryu Mugen video came out. I think that's the end of all the scheduled videos I have. So let's see. First one comes from Death Adder. As long as you don't get tired of reading them, I'll keep writing in. Writing into podcasts is my favorite. I wouldn't say I'm an a-hole, as I've helped numerous old ladies reach items in high places. I'm just making fun of like 5 YouTubers, and I have a very limited vocabulary. So here's my question of the week. You mentioned picking up fast food. So here's the question burning in my mind of every Tiger Claw fanatic. What is your go-to meal at Taco Bell? So the last time I went to Taco Bell, I was unemployed. I just finished college, hadn't started a job yet. I was hitting the job market, the job hunt. I was hitting it really hard, man. Filling out as many applications as I could, sending my resume anywhere. I was going to job fairs, and they were all dead ends. Well, one of the things that I did was I got a tip off that go to this such and such an event. I'm not sure what it is, some kind of gathering. It looks like it could be a job fair. Okay, so I went, and it turned out to be a sales pitch for training. And I took a picture of their presentation, because I remember there was a slide. They had like a projector up on a projector screen, and there was a slide that said what we do and who we are. And it was like verbatim the dopest PR thing from the Tim and Eric movie. Anyway, so I just like got up and walked out in the middle of that, because like I don't want any more training. I'm looking for a vocation. Come on, give me a job. Give me a job. So I walked out of there pretty pissed, and because that was like an hour of driving to get to that thing. And there was a Taco Bell right there. And I thought, I don't eat Taco Bell very much. I almost never have Taco Bell. I don't even know what's good there. So I went and I got just some random thing. And I think what I got back was like, not, how do I explain it? I see good things in the Taco Bell commercials. That's what I wanted. And I got some sort of beef nonsense. That's what I'll call it. Beef tortilla nonsense. It was like diarrhea in a bag. I don't know. I wasn't digging it, man. I would go again if I went with somebody who really enjoyed Taco Bell and knew what to order. But that like difficult meal on top of a difficult evening turned me off Taco Bell for a while. All right, so we move on to Alex Swengel, who writes, at minute 9, my entire Steam library is a safe space against rage games. Really? Because I bet if I opened up your Steam library, I could find quite the contrary. For a more serious answer, I'm more inclined to refuse to play a game with significant flaws than participate and allow myself to go through the motions of frustrated losing. Oh, come on, man. Don't give me that. I don't frequently play fighting games because I've never played or seen any fighting game. Okay, I'm messing this up again, and it's not Alex's fault. It's me reading it wrong, so I'm going to back up. I don't frequently play fighting games because I've never played or seen any fighting game be truly balanced. I'll hear some nonsense of, oh, this character attacks fast but deals little damage, so it's balanced. When in reality, players are stunned into combos by light attacks. Therefore, an entire section of the roster is invalidated in a game, in a match when experts of the game are fighting. Whew, had a hard time getting through that. Sorry, Alex, not your fault. My real anger comes from the idiot savants who are trying to convince me I'm wrong. I feel like escaping my safe space already. Number 2, at minute 11, the immersion is real, and dude, is that 80 bundles for Street Fighter V? What is wrong with you? All right, let's break this down. I enjoyed Street Fighter V. I don't care. Not only did I enjoy Street Fighter V, I enjoyed playing it while it was still not dead yet. Because if you were to get Street Fighter X Tekken, which goes on sale frequently for about $6, that's kind of tough to get a game going of Street Fighter X Tekken. I've got so many games where it's like, you can get a game going, you just got to organize it yourself. It was nice to get in on it when the new characters are still coming out. I don't know. I don't do that much. This is the one time I was interested enough to do it. Also, when it had its troublesome release, I played it at MagFest with my pal Energy, and I think that was like a really good experience, and I think that left enough of an impression to want me to jump on board. But I haven't regretted it. I've enjoyed it. It's a good game. Whatever. I get enough cheap games that I felt in that moment, in that one time, I could really shell out, and it was okay. So that's why 80 bundles. You know, what are you gonna do? About the balance of fighting games, though, you bring up an interesting point, because when I play fighting games as a novice, I think the only way to play, like a prerequisite for being able to play, is to to have memorized and be able to pull off every special move for the character you want to play. So we're talking not even to be like a winner at the game, but just to play the game at a bare bones level. You got to train. That's one character. So what you're talking about with the balance, what I find is they make it so that in order to beat a character's strong points, you have to pick the character that's strong against those strong points, and thus it becomes a game of paper, rock, scissors. So not only does it take training just to get bare bones skill level with one character, you got to be bare bones skill level with several characters, meaning the whole idea of maining a character it becomes obsolete when you reach a certain skill level, right? Think about it this way. If you're joining a tournament and you know that such and such a player who's the returning champ, he's going to pick, Ryu or whatever. I mean, as a strategist, you should be thinking, what's that guy weak against, And thus it becomes paper, rock, scissors. One of the things I liked about Street Fighter 4 is that when you played online, I believe Street Fighter 5 does this as well. Yeah, Street Fighter 5 does this as well. You don't get to know who you're playing against until you're locked in. Street Fighter 4 would give you the grid, and you could pick your guy, and then once you picked your guy, it would show you who the other guy picked. But in this one, you pick before you even start looking for a character, so you're looking for an opponent, so you're locked in, making it so that you can't he's going to pick, this person, I'll pick this person, and then I'll win. I don't know. I agree with you. I agree with you that true 100% balance is impossible, but I also think that I think there are good times to be had in watching people try. I don't know. I enjoy it. I think there is legit fun to be had. I think you have a decent, you have a very real argument on like the fundamental design flaw behind fighting games. But let me pose you this question, Alex. Let's say we were to design a fighting game wherein every single character had the same attacks. And when I say the same attacks, I mean the same frame count and the same special moves and combos and everything. So essentially the same character. And we just reskinned it. So we'd have a game with like a roster of 8 different characters. So they would look different. They would have different, voice acting, for their sound effects and whatever. Have different little stories in the manual, but they would essentially be the same character 8 times. That, I think, might be the only way you could get a true balanced fighting game. But would that be any fun to play? If your answer is no either way, then I submit that you just don't like fighting games, which is also perfectly acceptable. Thanks again for the comments to Death Adder and Alex Swingle. We have 2 more left from Super Robot Power Hour, who writes, RPG Maker MV is on Steam sale for $31.99 until an hour from now. If it's worth it to you, I hope you read this in time. Thanks for the heads up, man. I did actually read that in time, but I passed on it because I need. I even have the money at this point, but I need it for other things. Like the new computer, I do have it up and running, but there's a couple things I need for it. I am, believe it or not, going to get an optical drive in it because that computer is essentially, one of the functions of that computer is a media center for my wife. So I have for my wife and I. So I have a TV controller which works very, very well, and I'm going to be able to play Blu-rays in it. So it's cool. And I'll tell you something else. I want a DVD player in the computer I'm using now. It doesn't have to be a Blu-ray player. You can get a good internal DVD drive that will hook up to a SATA port for $20, less than $20. It's like 17 or 18. I've got a lot of really cool DVDs I want to watch, man. Come on, you guys know you do too. Look at this right here. I don't even have to leave my chair. Look at this. Look, I say look. Kung Fu Collection. Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, Sonny Chiba, Bola Young. Let's flip it over. The two widely distributed Jackie Chan movie, excuse me, not Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee movies that are going to show up on all of these. The Big Boss and Fists of Fury, with their American titles, Fists of Fury and Chinese Connection. First two on the list. What else we got? Disc 5, Street Fighter and The Return of Street Fighter. There you go. You guys know, I mean, the old introduction for Tiger Claw TV, the pictures of the car driving off the cliff, that's from the Street Fighter with Sonny Chiba. And that song, that's ripped straight from the Street Fighter movie. I don't know how I never got busted with the Content ID system, because when the time came for me to make that, I used those images on the basis that I was under the impression that movie was released in the public domain. I made a video of that movie. I even put it in the video. Hey, it's in the public domain. And it was available at archive.org to watch at the time, but it's gone now. It was ripped or pulled from the site. So I don't think it actually is in the public domain. I would like to watch that. If this had a DVD player in it, that's what I would be doing tonight. Jackie and the 36 Crazy Fists. One of the best action films by Jackie Chan, 1977. Now I'm bummed that I don't have a DVD player. 7 Grandmasters. Sweet. Here's another good one. Ninja Checkmate on DVD, which I believe also goes by the name Mystery of Chess Boxing. Now, if you're a fan of the Wu-Tang Clan, I think they have ties to this movie. The Ghostface Killer is the name of the big bad guy in the movie. Henceforth, the rapper. But it's a good movie. I got a lot of these like old movie box sets on DVD that I would love to just dig into, especially at nights when I'm not feeling good. Just kick back and watch a movie. The hell was I talking about? Right, robots. The Super Robot Power Hour. Yeah. So I had to save the money because I'm gonna get a couple new parts and then I'll call it with the computer. Also, yeah, I don't know. When I start going down the rabbit hole of computer parts, I have I worry. I gotta. So yeah, it will go on sale again. We'll see. The Steam summer sale is a couple months away, so I got plenty of time to save and be able to get some really good stuff. But there was another comment here that you left I wanted to read. And he writes, I'm midway through listening to the cast. I just wanted to throw in my distro suggestion before I forgot. I've been reading Solace on a very underpowered... I read this wrong again. I'm really terribly sorry. I'm very tired. I've been running Solace on a very underpowered laptop, and it's been working wonderfully. It's a somewhat new distro, and it's not downstream of any other distro. This means its software repositories are not as full of the more obscure packages that you would get from any other older distros, but I haven't had much trouble finding what I want. I found it to be a huge upgrade from Linux Mint 17, and the default desktop environments, Buggy or Mate, are a very logically set up. Anyone you share your machine with shouldn't have much trouble getting around the system. But I've also heard good things about Elementary OS, although I haven't tried it myself. It's downstream from Ubuntu, so you should be mostly fine with its repositories. Hopefully, I've helped you helped you out some. Keep up the great Linux talk. Thanks a lot, man. That's a really awesome comment for a couple of reasons. I don't know many people who have any interest in Linux distros, and I've actually gotten blowback from the amount I talk about Linux on the podcast, so it's really cool to hear that. I read this before I set up Mint on my new computer, and after reading it, I checked out Elementary. Elementary, I'd heard good things about as well, and I showed a couple screenshots to my wife. I wanted her to sit down and watch some shows, some YouTube videos, but couldn't quite hack it. I don't know. It just didn't get me. I've heard good things about it, but I wasn't grabbed by it. Solus I've never heard of. I didn't look that up. I think Mate in general, the Mate desktop environment, which you can get on several different distributions, Mate doesn't grab me, I don't think. Elementary OS, and the video I was talking about Joe Collins, he laid this all out, where it's basically like there once upon a time there was GNOME 2, and then GNOME 2 looked a certain way, and then they put out GNOME 3, and it looked way different. In my opinion, GNOME 3 looks like a cell phone. So when that sometime between that when that happened, several distributions spun off to try and maintain what GNOME 2 was, and one of those was Mate. That's at least the way I understand it. I don't know how accurate that is. I don't know, man. I can't talk too much about those because I never live booted them. I never tried them, which I think is something I really need to do more of. There's a lot I don't know about Linux. I kind of wanted to try one of the lighter distributions. I don't know. I don't know. It was a cop out to go with mint cinnamon. I should have at least gone with Debian cinnamon. Jeez, I don't know. That's all I got. As far as the repositories go, I don't really lean too much on the repositories. I downloaded Audacity from the Linux Mint repository, which I believe is the same as the Ubuntu repository. Not 100% sure about that. But it's unstable as heck, man. I'm making a video for Out of the Park Baseball 18, and that thing crashed like 4 times. And it's just like a 5-minute audio, and it was crashing all over the place. So I don't know. Maybe that's just the way Audacity is on Linux. Maybe it's just no good. Who knows? But that's it. Those 4 comments. That's the fail bag. Thanks very much for leaving some feedback. I really didn't have a lot of time this week. I'm struggling. That's all I got. I'm struggling. But I'll tell you what, I got plenty of time for well-wishing. This is the time at the end of the show. I set aside just a couple minutes to say, whatever happens, guys, I'm rooting for you. All right? Keep getting up in the morning. Keep going to work if you got to go to work. If you're in school, keep studying. Keep doing it. Don't give up. Even if today sucks, especially if today sucked. Keep at it. All right? Keep at it and make it a good week. I'll hear from you on Monday. This is Tiger Claw Radio. Special thanks to the patrons, Hemrock, Retro Kaiser, James, and Sendu. You guys are awesome. Have a good week.